Good evening to all, and a warm welcome to IS Baba's ILP live mentorship program, wherein we have tried to focus more on majorly on three factors, because I believe that more than intelligence in this exam, it requires accountability, consistency, and application of thoughts, which are very important. And most of you know about this ILP, that is our flagship integrated learning program. So we have added an S prefix to it. So where S stands for, it can be smart, special, whatever you call it as. And what makes this feature special in ILP is, as I said, the three major factors, that is accountability, consistency, and application of thoughts. And I hope you have seen my first video that was put up in the morning, wherein we give you the daily targets. I've told you what should be read. I think where is it? Yeah, this was the day one topic. Yeah, so this was the day one topic that I had discussed in the morning, saying what to be read, what are your daily targets, and what is the scope, wherein I've explained you even the basic things like what you should be studying in historical underpinnings, then what is the difference between historical underpinnings, evolution of the constitution, the basic provisions, what are the things that you need to go through it. It starts from all the way from 1773 Act till the basic provisions, salient features, all that. And it also overlaps with your mains part as well, the first part of your main syllabus. So with that, we'll start off with the third part, which I had emphasized before. Apart from your consistency, accountability, the application of thoughts. So that we can see through the questions. And also, like, once I start discussing the questions, you can also ask your doubts, which I'll clarify as well. So wherever you want me to stop, re-explain, do let me know. And let's start off. Okay. So this is the question that I found from the first day's target, and it was in 2023. Initially I'll be discussing a couple of questions from prelims, and then I'll be going to the mains part of it, of the day one target. And I hope all of you are aware of what you should have studied in day one, right? Yeah. So which one of the following statements best reflects the chief purpose of the Constitution of India? So here the first initial part of the topic, all the way from the historical underpinnings till even, I would say, till fundamental duties, it talks about the philosophy of the Constitution. So wherein here Constitution, or even Parliament for that matter, or fundamental rights to fundamental duties, you should know, or even parliamentary form of government. The conceptual clarity should be very, you should be very sound in that. Like, you need to understand it in very simple terms. For example, democracy. Like, what is democracy? Where the people are the supreme. The voices of the people should be heard. It is the supreme, and everything is centered across the people's aspirations. So that is how, in a simple term, you should be knowing it. Fine. So coming to which of the chief purpose. So what is a constitution? Basically, it is the law of the land. It tells you how a country should be governed. It gives you the guidelines, principles, right? And also it tells us which is the institution that has the power to take decisions which will impact on the lives of the people, all that, right? So this is what the constitution is. And the options given here also are like, so one way or the other, it is also right. Like, it determines the objective of making necessary laws. It enables the creation of political offices. Of course, it has provisions to it. It secures social justice, social equality through DPSP. It gives you provisions to do it, and also there's the independent judiciary which makes sure that the social justice is delivered. But here, when you come across something very, closely related option, the best way to go about it is the most appropriate option. That is, see, it defines and limits the powers of the government. Because or else what will happen, right? The democracy will change into autocracy automatically, right? Because there's no protection for the people or their aspirations as such, and finally it becomes an autocratic rule. So that is the reason the closest and the best option here is it defines and limits the powers of the government. So any doubt in the first question? Any doubt? I'm not able to see any questions as such from the student side. Any doubt in the first question? Right, it's simple. So let's move on to the next question. If you have any doubts, please put it across. Yeah, thank you for your response. In essence, what does due process of law mean? So There's something known as procedure established by law, which is also given natural justice. So most of the students would have got confused between A and C, right? And of course the answer is for this is fair application of law. But let us also understand what the other statements also mean, because that is very much essential for you to eliminate and get the answer right. So for here the due process of law, here we can quote the most famous case, that is Maneka Gandhi case, wherein not only the law not only the government has to follow the procedure that is established by the law, but also it should make sure that whether it is fair and reasonable. So what do I mean by that is whether that person is given a fair chance to be heard, whether he or she can appoint his or her lawyer to defend himself, right, or herself. So all this, any equal opportunity should be given. Even for example, Kasib the terrorist was given this power to defend himself, to appoint a lawyer, right? There was a lawyer who was appointed to defend Kasib. So all this comes under the principle of fair application of law, right? Or even the famous case, as I said, Maneka Gandhi case, she had applied for the passport and that got rejected, and when she asked for what reason it was rejected, there was no satisfactory explanation given by the executive, right? They just said it is according to the whatever procedures that are given according to the law. Since it is the legislative or the parliament which forms the law, whichever the political parties and majority can form a law which might favor certain sections as well, right? So that is the reason these things are very important, because the law has to be reasonable in terms of giving proper the person who is, like, what do you say, can produce the evidences, right, or as equal opportunity to be heard. All that comes under fair application of law. Clear? And also students, like when you are reading polity, as I've said in my morning video as well, please be abreast with the recent laws, or the not in laws, as I said, the Supreme Court judgments, laws passed. Please keep a tab on that. So this is with second option. Third one, which one of the following in Indian polity is essential feature that it indicates federal in character? So when you say federal in character, it basically means there's a center, the power is divided between two constituents. One is the central government and the other one is the state constituents. So this is what the basic definition talks about federalism. And if you look at it, the union legislature has elected, since this is more to do with election democracy, right? All this election is more related to democracy, and this is related to the fundamental rights. So an independent judiciary to safeguard actually is an essential feature to maintain federalism, because when the power is divided between two, there can be a chaos, there can be a fight between the central government and the state government that we have seen in terms of sharing of the taxes, sharing of the river water between the states, all this. So you need an independent judiciary to safeguard it, and that is what is an essential feature for defining the federal character here. Any doubts here? Any doubts in this question? Yeah, if not, then let's move on to the next one. Yeah, consider the following statements. Parliament of India. See, you can ask me doubts even right now, or even after the session also. I'll give you time wherein we can interact, because as this is a live session, I want students to ask me questions, right, on and we can discuss on that. So I'll be trying to give my whatever inputs I have from my side on this particular topic, wherein it starts with historical underpinnings to the salient features of the Indian Constitution. So consider the following statements. Parliament can place a particular law in the 9th schedule. So what is this 9th schedule related to? What is this 9th schedule related to? Can anyone answer? Yeah, you can type your answers on the chat box there. What is the 9th schedule related to? Basically, it says because it was formed during soon after the independence. That is the first Constitutional Amendment Act. Actually, was related to this 9th schedule, wherein the land reforms or the land related laws were put in the 9th schedule, and it said that anything that is under the 9th schedule, it cannot be amended, or it cannot be reviewed by the judiciary. So it protected this law from the judicial judgment. So what happened later on, this got amended, and finally it said even if it is put under the 9th schedule, and in that case you need to know this Coelho case, the famous Coelho case, wherein it says that even any law that is put even in the 9th schedule, if it can be can come under the judicial review if it is hampering the basic structure of the constitution. So this statement, yes, this is right, whereas this one, the validity, right, this statement is wrong. So the answer is 1. And as I said, please keep a tab on the cases that I've been speaking about, because that is more related to current affairs. Clear? Yeah, somebody has put this fair, I think Shashank Patil says fair and just, the procedure should conform to the principle of natural justice. In other words, it has introduced the American expression due process of law. See Shashank, as I said, principle of natural justice does not need any law as such, right? I'll give you a very basic elementary differences here, and also you need to understand it from that angle. As I said, sometimes we use for the same country, a state, a nation. So this finer differences you should know. So here, coming to this principle of natural justice, it does not require any law as such, right? It is above all this, and it talks about fairness, justice, right? So liberty, all these major terms come under the principle of natural justice. Whereas when it comes to the due process of law, so this is more related to the legal constraints as such. So it says not only the law should be should follow certain procedures, but this procedure should also be fair enough. That calls for due process of law. And it can also be said, as you have put, the principles of natural justice in the procedures that you see can also be seen as due process of law. Any other doubts you have? Because after this we'll be going to the mains question. Any doubts in this 4 questions that we have discussed till now in the day 1 targets? Any other doubts you guys have? Yeah? So shall we move on to the mains question? See, property rights, Gaurav, yes, property rights were, that is what, it was related to the property rights, or even the land reforms, which is actually linked to the property rights which were put in 9th schedule earlier. And it said it was not, I think it was 31B or 31C was introduced along with that, in that. So you need to read about first Constitutional Amendment Act. See again, and not every Constitutional Amendment Act becomes important. It can be the first, then Golaknath case, to Keshwananda Bharati case, Menaka Gandhi case. You can see the transition. So we can discuss all this when we come to the fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSP. When we are discussing that, we'll go in detail in that. This is just the first basic topic, right? As I've already told you what we would be covering in day 1. So we'll be sticking only to that. Because when it comes, because every day we'll be meeting like this, right? And I'll be taking the session for the next 3 to 4 sessions. I'll be taking it, and later my team will take over it. Right, and this first 3-4 sessions will be, I'll be live and I'll be accessible to all students here. Later it will be confined only to the students who are part of our mentorship program. Sorry for this. Yeah, any other doubts you guys have? Yeah. So let's go to the mains question. Do you think there's a need? Yeah, I'll come to this, sorry. Constitutional morality is rooted in the constitution itself and is founded on its essential factor. Explain the doctrine of constitutional morality with the help of relevant judicial decisions. So how would you rate this question? Is it easy, moderate, difficult? Among these 3 levels, how would you rate this question? Difficulty level of this question. And also for students who are struggling with answer writing, please watch this video which I have done on answer writing, that is called Aware series. Aware series, just type Aware series Mohan Sir, IS Baba, you'll get those videos. There's a series of 6 to 7 videos wherein all the myths about answer writing, to how to present an answer, how will that make a difference, how to put in value additions, how your GS1 answer will be different from GS2 or GS3 answers, right? Everything is done in detail, step by step. Anyways, coming to this, how would you rate this particular question, whether it's easy, medium or difficult? Yeah, can I get a response from the students? Right, or else I can as well do a recorded session and just present it to you, right? because that is what we do in the daily targets. When I do a daily target, it is recorded, because there you have to, all that you have to know is what is the scope of the topic, where do you have to study from, all that. But here I think interaction will help you to fine tune your concepts better, and whatever you have studied according to the topic, is it in line with the demand of UPSC? That is what we talk about. The third factor here, that is application of thoughts. See, recent judgments, Soumya, see, if you just give the last recent 25 judgments made by Supreme Court, and even if you Google it out, no, you'll get a lot of important judicial judgments, so you can take it from that. Yeah. Gaurav says it's moderate, Gautam Kumar says it is difficult. I would say it comes at the moderate level. Here there's nothing like you have to apply things, all that. Here it is more to do with your conceptual clarity. Right, this particular question is more to do with your understanding of constitutional morality, and later it directly says explain this constitutional morality with judicial decisions taken. So in the introduction, what I'll do, obviously an answer will have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So in the intro, I'll start off with defining what is constitutional morality, or the important significance or characteristics of constitutional morality, wherein basically what this constitutional morality is like. It is like there's something known as social norms, and we as Indians, or in our country, there are a lot of diversity here. So everybody thinks this is right. I mean, some group of A group thinks A is right, C group thinks C is right. So there are a lot of social norms that is associated with the society. But above that, there should be a principle of equality, rule of law, justice, wherein that is what the constitutional morality talks about. Right? It is above the social norms. It acts as a guiding light. It is based on the principles of, it says that the governance should be based on the ideals that is proposed in the constitution. Right? That is what the constitutional morality talks about. It also helps the judiciary to interpret the laws made or the actions taken by the administration, whether it is ethical, whether it is rational, whether it is reasonable. Right? So this is what the constitutional morality talks about. And sometimes it can go beyond the legal interpretations as well, and it connects to a larger value. So for example, so I'll start with that. I can also give you the scope. Later I can write about the scope of it, which is not only pertinent to the executive, but also the legislature or the judiciary or even the civil society. Right? Everything will come under this. As I said, because it is based on the principle of rule of law, equality, equity, justice, all that. So this is it. Then examples that I can give in the body is a lot of examples. It starts with this constitutional morality. The groundwork for it starts with Keshwananda Bharti case, right? All the way from Keshwananda Bharti case to Navteej Singh Johar case, wherein it talks about section 377. So decriminalization of section 377. Right? Because here again, as I said, I gave the term societal norms. It is above the societal norms. Whatever the taboos that are put up by the society, it is above that, because it is based on justice and fairness. So it is above the social norms. According to the social norms, they say same-sex marriages should not be supported or allowed. It will hurt our culture, our tradition, all that. But it goes above that, and it says, you have to decriminalize section 377. That is nothing but LGBT community have their rights. They can lead their life with dignity, and they can stay or marry anyone of their choice. Right? That is one. Or even adultery case, I think it is section 497 if I'm not wrong. So that also you can give here, wherein the privacy of both the partners are to be protected. So that is what that case talks about. I think it is also called Joseph Shine case. Right? So that is one. And you can also talk about gender related, that is Sabrimala case. So Sabrimala case, then this is Navteej Singh Johar case. This talks about LGBT community. Then Joseph Shine, that is talks about adultery case. Then you have Keshwananda Bharti case. So these are the cases that you can link. So that is the reason, more than one of the student had asked me, Soumya, I think she asked me like, where do you get all these important judgments? So instead of typing 25 important judgments, it is always better to study it according to the context. So when you read it like a story or a context, you will be able to remember it for a longer time, right? So there are the 400 to 450 constitutional articles. You don't have to remember all of them, right? There are a few important articles, like say Article 110, 112, right? So, or even 324 for that matter, 323 tribunals. So there are important articles. See, I have left my preparation. It's been years to get, I mean, I think 5-6 years back, but still I remember these articles, because you need to read polity with a story, or not only this subject, any subject for that matter. When you read it with the context, with the story, you will remember it for a longer time. And also the other thing is, if you're a first timer, please don't try to remember the facts in your first reading. Always try to understand what is the author trying to tell me here, what is my understanding. So eventually in the second and third reading, you will automatically, you'll remember that. Fine. So this is what I'll be writing in my body. A lot of examples I have which I can explain the concept of it. And also there are, of course, if you look at it, there are challenges also here, especially when it comes to the constitutional norms versus the traditions and culture, right? Or basically tension that can be created between the minority or the individuals' rights versus the majoritarian rule or their viewpoint, right? These are the things that we can see. So basically this, so in my conclusion, I'll be saying that how it is trying to balance between the traditional norms and the constitutional values or ideals as such, or how it is helping me to balance between the gender or the gender laws. So all that. So in the conclusion, it will be more about my balanced opinion on the significance or the importance of the constitutional morality. So this is what I'll be writing in my conclusion. So this is how my answer will look like in my intro body conclusion in this particular question. So any doubts in this particular question? Any doubts? So it's a straightforward question. So if you have understood the concept properly about constitutional morality, I think all this will be answered. And also when you understand it in this manner, even your prelims you can easily answer the questions. So any doubts here? Any doubts here? So if you say there are no doubts, then I can go to the next question. Yeah? Anyone has a doubt here? Shall we move on to the next question? Yes? Okay. Yeah. So this is a question. See, as I said, the first part of the syllabus, you will not have many questions apart from the questions on this conceptual concept like constitutional morality or the constitution. Probably in the next set of probably day 2, day 3, when we talk about preamble or union territories, or probably when we come to fundamental rights, you will see a lot of analytical questions. So these are straightforward questions, but you need to understand the meaning of constitution, constitutional morality, parliamentary form of government, or all these basic things properly. So the second question is, do you think there is a need to review the Indian constitution, justify your view? So when you say justify your view, should you be giving both the positives and negatives? How you should be answering? What should be the structure like? Obviously, in the introduction, you will start off with the importance of constitution, where we adopted our Indian constitution in 1915, where we borrowed from different countries, features were borrowed, all that. So I'll be writing 2-3 lines in my introduction. So what will I write in my body? And finally in my conclusion. So should I be writing both the sides here, like we need to review the constitution? Yes, 5 points. Then no, then 5 points, then conclude. How should be my structure here? Yeah. What should be my structure here? Can anyone just type whatever you think is right, so that we can take it forward? Can you mention a few points on why we should not review the constitution? We should keep it as it is, or if we at all we want to review, we should be completely change our constitution, make a new constitution. What do you think? Yeah, Gautam, Gaurav, Soumya, right? Shashank. Yes, of course. Gaurav says constitution is a living document. Neutral based. Neha says neutral based. No, my question is, in the body, so will you say yes, we need to review the constitution and write 3 to 4 points here, then say no and write 3 to 4 points here, and then you will write the conclusion? How will your structure be? Or will you just take one side? If you think it is yes, you'll write say 5-6 points and then you write your conclusion. Or if you think it is no and just stick only to no and then write a conclusion here. So how will your structure be? Do you think there's a need to review the Indian Constitution? Justify your view. Yeah, anyone? No, even if it is wrong, you please let me know, because answer writing is a very important part, and you know that carries 86 to 87% rate in your final marks. I mean final rank, because the remaining 13% of your marks is your interview, right? So 1750 marks is for your mains. So please, I mean, all these words you need to keep in mind when you're writing an answer. So Neha says, regarding changes in society, sometimes it's necessary to change. Okay, fine. So after my introduction, I'll take one of the stand. I'll not be writing both the stands here, because it just says justify your view. If I think it is yes, a constitution has to be reviewed, a complete change has to happen, then I'll say yes, and then I'll give the reasons. It can be the recent, the progressive, the dynamic nature of the society in itself, or how new aspirations, new value systems are coming into picture which the constitution is not able to connect to, or probably in yeah, as Gautam says, yeah, it should be one-sided only, or it can be related to the election reforms, it can be related to judiciary, all the important institutions, what all reforms can be done, completely a makeover for it, and all that can be written. So I would have just put up no, a complete review is not required. Instead of that, an incremental change can come up. So that is how I would have been written. And I'm not saying this is the right way. You can either write this or this, but you, at the end of the day, it is all about the arguments that you give, the rationale that you give. So if I'm saying no, a complete review is not required, because first of all, the present structure or the present constitution gives us what do you say, stability and continuity. That is an important feature. And also the judiciary has like got accustomed to it, the way of interpreting all that. And also for changes, any dynamic changes, and we have seen it has been 74 years since the constitution was adopted, and we have this very important feature, that is amendability of the constitution. Lot of amendments have happened, more than 100 amendments have happened, and this is nothing but to keep in with the dynamic changes in the environment and as well as the aspirations of the people, right? So all this is taken into account. So I would have taken this sided view, and in conclusion I would have given a balanced one, or not a balanced one as such. As I said, yes, but there can be certain places where incremental changes can happen, like probably it can be codifying the fundamental duties, right, or reforms in the local governance, or probably in the anti-defection law. So such things I can give, or anything that you feel is more relevant, because as I said, instead of a complete review, a step-by-step change or an incremental change is the need of the hour, rather than the complete review, because it takes a lot of time, a lot of efforts, a lot of resources in terms of human resource, in terms of finance resource, all that. So it is better that we can stick to the present constitution and focus on certain reforms. So this is how I would be writing my answer. So any doubts here? Yeah, unknown to known says, as diverse country, present constitution perfect for our federal structure with necessary amendments. Yes, that is what I have said. So this is the view that I would be taking, right? And also, as I said, the constitutional morality can be a question that can come even in your interview as well. So always have an integrated approach when you are preparing for it. And any other doubts you have? My menu says yes, variable law according to time, new concept, new act, no more amendment to a majority, etc. Fine. As I said again, It is your view. Whether if you are saying yes, then you have to give a strong arguments for saying yes. If you're saying no, you have to give strong arguments to say no. Right? And also in the conclusion, you can also conclude by giving relevant reports, right? All that, articles, etc. You can give and you can conclude your answer as well. Any other doubts? So this is with the first day of polity, and this is the topic that we discussed today. Historical development, various acts, enactment of Indian Constitution. That is nothing but this part of it. This is day 1 ka topic that we discussed today. So I hope you are clear with all the scope of the topic, the topics that you should have read in my first session that I took in the morning, and this evening session where I have discussed about the prelims and mains questions that were relevant to today's topic only. So please always keep in mind, whenever I am discussing, I'll go with respect to the topic of the day. So tomorrow you will have schedules, preamble, union territories. So these are the things, majorly it is the preamble and the union territories. Fine. Any doubts? Any other doubts? Anything that you want to ask me with regard to polity? Any difficulties that you are coming across? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, Pranami, hi. Any doubts you have? Okay, just go through the video you will have. I think most of your doubts will be cleared. Watch both the videos which was put up in the morning at around 9:15, and also this video. And if you have doubts, you can also join the session tomorrow and clear it off. Which particular question are you talking about? This question is based on current affairs in 2008. Yeah, of course, that was an old question because I did not find any question on constitution in the recent last say 5 to 10 years specific to the constitution. Though it is a known cold question, it will always have relevance, not only 10 years back, even now and even in the future, because there's a lot of debates and discussion on whether we need to review, change the complete constitution, come up with a new constitution in itself, or can we stick on to the same thing. The timing will stick to 6:30 p.m. in the evening. Morning you will get the video between 7 to 9. The daily target video will go. Evening it will be at 6:30. We'll have this live mentorship session for an half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour, where I'll be taking up topics of prelims and mains, and also whenever there's a relevance to the interview also I'll take up those questions, and I'll be discussing according to the topics that we have given here. So this is our ILP schedule wherein we discuss like what should be done in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, 6, 7, and on the 8th day you will have this prelims and mains test of all the topics that we would be discussing. So this is part of our ILP program. And anything else? Any other doubts? So if there are no doubts, I hope the session was useful and it gave you the line of thought on how you should be thinking from the exam perspective. So let's again join tomorrow around at 6:30 again. And before that, please do watch the morning video that will be published around between 7 to 9 p.m. 9 a.m. on what is the topic. I mean, how you should be studying day 2 topics, right? Subtopics, the scope of the topic, all that. And we'll join tomorrow again. Yeah. Thank you and wish you all the best. Yeah, every day 2 videos. The first video talks about the scope, what are the daily targets, how you should be studying. The evening it will be more about the questions, that is PYQs, both prelims and mains perspective. Yeah, fine then. Wish you all the best again and thank you.